Welcome on this busy Sunday for another Your Lurgan podcast. I say busy, just finished talking to the folks at the railway station in Lurgan as they make their way southwards to Croke Park, but we'll talk about that a little later. So we're so busy, but we're able to keep things moving. And good to see that you're out and about, if only just, young Michael. You've broken your isolation. I'm Donagh McKeown, and
I'm free. I'm Michael Scott. Hello, how are you?
You look a bit expensive to me, but there you are. You're free.
Yeah.
That's good.
Depends who you talk to. Yeah.
You've been in lockdown literally for the last week and a half or so.
It's been longer than that, Donagh. It's been 3 weeks if you include my wife's and my wee man's
oh my goodness
period as well. We come back from our holiday in Glasgow, and the next day my wife tested positive for COVID. So pretty much since then, you're talking the guts of 3 weeks, but actually might be slightly over 3 weeks. It's been an absolute nightmare. But yeah, out of isolation on Friday and went to see Liam Gallagher on Friday night. And yeah, it was good to get out and about. And actually, my first trip out was to Halfords and Craigavon. So
very important things to do. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's the situation for many, actually, because there's certainly a rise in cases right across this area.
There certainly seems to be. I'm hearing, well, I don't know. I don't have any exact figures to tell you exactly how many cases there are of COVID at the minute. I'm sure by the time you hear this, there'll be more anyway. But certainly anecdotally, we're hearing there's more and more cases of COVID doing the rounds. I'm pretty sure schools are glad they're finishing next week or this week coming, because it could be a nightmare for them. But obviously that creates another problem. You have school holidays and stuff like that there. How might they be affected by people coming down with COVID? So yeah, it's not pleasant. I have to say now, I was lucky. The bout of COVID I had was okay. I had a couple of rough days, but it was no worse than a bad cold. But obviously there's people out there who's going to get a lot worse than that. And our thoughts are with everybody who gets it, and we hope we get better soon.
Absolutely. So let's look to the news stories, as it were, in the week, and some disturbing news of incidents. It's so long since we used that in common parlance that there's an incident last night. There was one here. We just took it for granted at the end of it all. But a couple of incidents over the last couple of weeks that are a little bit on the edgy side of worrying, should we say.
Yeah, particularly at the start of the week, we had a couple of worrying incidents. Petrol bomb attacks. I think was it Monday night was the first one. A petrol bomb had been thrown at a car which was parked in what area was that? Bells Road Court area of the town. That was the 20th of June, and there was damage caused to the vehicle and smoke damage reported at the front of a property nearby. And then later that day, actually I think was the next one. At 10:50 in the morning, which is broad daylight, in the Dini Drive area of Lurgan, another arson attack. So that's quite worrying that these incidents are going on. Now, it's been quiet so far this week, or during the rest of the week, I have to say. But we had a comment regarding those incidents from Councillor Keith Hawking, and he says in both cases they could have caused injury to the residents or the children living nearby, and described the attacks as reprehensible, which is a fair comment, I think.
Is there any connection between the two? You'd imagine there might be. Has there been that speculation that these are coordinated in some sense? I mean, you have to be pretty coordinated to actually set up a petrol bomb. I mean, it's not just something like going out and getting a box of matches and a piece of paper.
I don't want to make light of I don't want to make light of the situation, but anyone who's creating petrol bombs at this, in the current climate, is doing well for themselves. But
you're talking about the expense, of course.
Yeah. But I don't think police have actually said that there is any link between the two. I mean, the fact that the two of them happened in very close, a close space of time would lead people out there probably to think that they are connected. But certainly the police haven't said that yet. And the police have also paid for anybody who has any information, any dash cam footage if they're in the area, to come forward and give any information they have.
Is it going to be any more sinister? Is it going to lead to other things? Do you think it's the start of this kind of the summer season that we all talk about, one side or the other? Because this is what it sounds like to people from afar. That
well, we know there's
one area is gearing up for. I don't even want to use the words, but are gearing up for something.
I know there's been a few instances in Portadown in recent weeks. And hopefully we won't see an escalation of that. Obviously it's been a difficult time politically recently. I don't know whether these incidents are of that sort of nature either. The police certainly haven't said that either, but it's what's been going on recently is worrying, and I'm sure everyone would appeal for calm heads and
maybe it's a time to step back from making such speculation. I don't want to, excuse the pun, add fuel to any fire, but you have to kind of have it in your mind somewhere. We don't want to see it, but if this is the start of something, if only to be able to throw the water or throw the blanket or something metaphysically over this circumstance, that's why I would raise the kind of issue. But as you say, let's hope that it's just two offs as opposed to just the one off, as it were, and move on from absolutely. There. Yeah. So what else are we looking at? Anything on the brighter side of life, as it were? Because I know the court cases keep coming and the various court cases get reactions to them.
Oh, they do.
We're very...
Sorry, John, sorry.
We're very circumspect as to what say it in light of all those, aren't we?
We don't like talking about court cases on a podcast for all sorts of reasons. We don't, but obviously we do have good coverage of Craigavon Massachusetts Court on your Lurgan. So if you want to find out who's been up in court, your Lurgan's the place to go. But on the lighter side of things, I mean, you've had a busy couple of days, Don. I mean, you were out on Friday evening, weren't you, in Waringstown?
Yes, I was. I was out earlier in the week too. A great couple of evenings. I really enjoyed them. Yeah, the Cavalcade. Congratulations to the organisers. They told me when we spoke to them a week or two ago that they were hoping for something like 500. The figures they released kind of late last night has been up to 700 vehicles. I couldn't believe it. I mean, if you wanted to see every sort of tractor that's ever been made, from the Massey Fergusons, the original Fergusons actually, to the latest kind of combine harvesters, almost, though they didn't have any combine harvesters there, but they had the next best big tractor. Even if you're not from the country, of which many people were, the townies like to see the tractors too. Not on their main street, and not when they're in traffic going somewhere, but they do like to see them. There's a fascination, the young people in particular.
My wee man at the minute is obsessed with tractors. It's as somebody who has no interest in tractors at all, it's slightly concerning. But no, it's I don't know why kids love tractors and farm machinery. Maybe it's because they're big and dangerous. I don't know.
Maybe it's because they see something that's really big and exciting. Who knows?
Yeah.
And I know you've been to the car show just yesterday in Brownlow House. There's an opportunity to see all sorts of old vehicles, most of them not on the road, only out for special occasions. There's one last night, one tractor that was at Lurgan show, small tractor, I forget the name of it, and the gentleman drives along, but he has this big, fluffy, almost like St. Bernard dog sitting on the side of the tractor, and the dog has a hat. Yeah. It looks more human than anybody.
I was driving through Waringstown yesterday on my way to the train station to go to the concert, and that was about just before 5 o'clock, whenever the roads were closing, and it was busy then, and the vehicles that were out on the side of the road were incredible. Some of them were brilliant. Again, my young fella was just looking at the car window in absolute amazement at all these vehicles just lying up the side of the road. So no, it looked like a really good night. It looked like a really, really good night. It always is down there.
I was going to say lawnmowers, but that's the tractors. Land Rovers, there were dozens and dozens and hundreds of them. And then some special cars, some only 25 years old, like Citroens or whatever. There's a lovely C5, a kind of a mountain goat. But what turned up, London bus style, as I said. First of all, I'm so busy looking at this beautiful aluminium silver colored DeLorean. Back to the Future. And then I turned around and there was another. right behind. Good evening, sir. What's the name?
What's that?
What's your name?
Stephen Armstrong.
And how long have you had this beautiful car?
7 years.
Wow, it's fabulous. Can you go back to the future?
I can, yes. You can find me out there on Instagram and Facebook there, and Twitter.
Ty, we're holding up the whole campaign here.
No problem.
Timeless DeLorean. Beautiful, lovely car. Thank you. Thank you very much. We just stopped the whole traffic there. Stephen Armstrong, I think, drove the second one. I'm not sure who drove the other. Stephen has a company that hires out these DeLoreans. It was fabulous. I had a quick few seconds with him. I said, "Can I go back to the future?" He said, "Yeah, of course, yeah. Make sure you sign up for our TikTok." And he had the advert on the back of the vehicle. So he had a night of business, but they're fabulous. It's
a life's ambition of mine to have a spin in a DeLorean. I'm not looking to go back to the 80s or anything like that. No, I just want to have a spin up the road in one.
I don't think I do.
No.
They say that's why mobile phones is a good job. They weren't invented till about the late 90s and certainly the 2000s because all the pictures and all the memories best kept back there. Shh, don't tell them what happened, what really happened. So anyway, we want to stay in the present at the same time. So great show. I'm already looking forward to next year, and thank you to the organisers, to Ian Kerr, and of course to Trevor Kincaid, who gave us the opportunity to find out all about it. And I met relatives and all sorts of people, and some lovely people there too. That was the cavalcade, of course. And of course, earlier in the week, but I'll say that till the football conversation. We'll maybe talk about that in a wee while, where else I was. What else is in the news before we come to that? Because it's a big part of our news.
We'll talk about the story we're putting out on Monday, Donagh, about you were speaking to a few fundraisers, local fundraisers.
Yes, I was. These are a couple of ladies, rather sad story in a way, but rather joyous too. Mother and daughter spoke to me, the Avery family, Geraldine and I think it's Dory, and they were talking about their sister because they're having an event. They're having an event in local establishment, Fa Joe's, which I always thought was a bit of dyslexia, but then I realized it's Fa Joe's, it's not Father Joe's. And they're having this event. Jeff Morrow is giving them space to have this on what's normally their karaoke night, because the lady that the girls are celebrating is Geraldine's daughter, and her name is Sarah Louise Avery. Beautiful girl. We're able to kind of show you her picture, maybe even the poster as well. And they're raising money for the Macmillan Cancer Trust, largely because Sarah Jane passed away just 5 or 6 months ago. And the conversation is a little bit emotional, but it's inspiring that they're able to talk about the circumstance and then offer help to others by holding this kind of event. And I was able then, through the wonders of science, with the interview, I was able to catch the two girls singing, because that's what they like to do. They like to go and celebrate the fact that they used to do it with Dory's sister, and of course Geraldine's her mum, with Sarah Louise, more or less every Friday at the same venue, a big karaoke scene there. They don't allow me to sing, funny enough, but I caught the girls singing last night. So we have that on Friday night, and we're able to kind of incorporate that in the story. But really, really lovely idea for the event. And just to give you the exact kind of combination, as it were, the right sort of date on it, it's actually the 8th of July, which is Friday week. Wouldn't that be so? So it's a couple of weeks away. And they're going to have music by the local girl, Becca. Are you familiar with Becca? She's Becca McManus. She's a local star. I'm going to have her interviewed on this Your Lurgan, if that's okay with yourself. She's an up-and-coming star. So that's happening, Fa Joe's, and that's the 8th of July. More on that on Monday. So what else have we to look at? And
Right, well, I know you're dying to talk about it, so we'll get it out of the road. We'll talk about the Armagh game, will we?
Yep.
You're
ready now.
Are you going to it, are you?
Would I not be going to? I'll be there 1:45 on Sunday this afternoon. Later in the day, we're leaving the cortege, our cortege. We couldn't afford to organise a train for all of us, and besides, we all meet up in Armagh, and it's kind of a family trek, as it were. And that family trek takes us from wherever all is collected, and then we head off down, and we might have a bit of breakfast on the way. And not in the cars. And then we kind of go to the match. It's a family affair. I don't normally wear emblems of identification like the one I'm wearing. For those listening, this is an Armagh cap. It's from quite a few years ago. The orange is faded somewhat because it's been out in the sun. That and the fact that it hasn't been out in the sun for a long while. In fact, it's 2017 since Armagh were at Croke Park. It's 2013 or 14 since I was in Croke Park with this hat, largely because I was away in America ever since. So I'm really looking forward to getting back on that basis. And there's real potential for Armagh, keep their fingers crossed, playing the games that they've been playing, that they could make it through to the semi-final, and depending on the draw there, who they're drawn against, a really good chance. But of course, it's one step at a time to make it to the final. Their first final since 2003. Yeah, when they were beaten by Petrol. But they're going to be, hopefully, this year. And it's a really, really good chance. That's why it's so exciting. But I digress. Yes, that's where I'm going to.
Am I right in saying it's 20 years since Armagh last won the All-Ireland?
Oh, yes. For the first and only time, 20 years. Emblazoned in all our hearts. September 22nd, I'm loath to say, maybe 23rd. That's the day. A wonderful, wonderful day for all folks in Armagh. And there were people of all communities going to the game. And there are still. That number is increasing over the years. It's not just a one-sided affair, as it were. It's for anyone who wants to come along and support the team that plays for their county. That's how it looks. And that's how, because 20 years on would be a nice anniversary to kind of put a bookend to, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would. And you also did a bit of sort of preview, an interesting sort of preview as well. Not your typical sort of match preview either.
No. We were a bit flexible and a bit of jibbing and jabbing, and the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. We were at a local halls. We're just on Church Walk, and we did and talked to the young fellas, Gary and Kevin. And the fellow with me was Eugene ONeill. He may have been connected to them. But I'd had to threaten to go out and visit them before separately. Just the two things combined, because Kieran McGeeney has a brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
I have a brown belt too. I'm wearing it right now.
Yeah, well, I did. I showed them my brown belt, which I was wearing too.
Just today is Kieran McGeeney, the Armagh manager, being a brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's been doing it for, it must be 10 years. He's been doing it. Kieran is a hard man, and footballing wise, for my money, he would be like Armagh's best ever player, as far as I'm concerned. And I've no doubt that the mindset that he got from Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu that he's been doing all this time, it's a measure of the type of man that he is, the type of leader that he is, the type of character that he is, and I think he's taken the Armagh team sales. He takes them for a lot of this type of coaching. He trains in the same gym that Conor McGregor trains in down in Dublin. Head coach being John Cadman, who would be a very, very like a worldwide known mixed martial arts coach. So it's a great connection for us to have. As sort of like, we're like Gaelic men, I'm like Armagh supporter. Can't wait for the match on Sunday, and just to know that connection between the sport that we coach and train at ourselves, and our county manager also does as well. It's very.
Yeah, I was actually talking to Kieran down in one of the championships recently, and he was come down to give us a class. Unfortunately, Armagh's got a good run now. We can't get the hold of him. So see this, Kieran.
We don't want you to get hold of him. Let's just put it like that.
We'll leave him alone for now. Yeah.
So wait till the championship's over.
So you're going to show us a move. What is it you're going to show us, or you can have a 12 round bout there if you like, but we'll only be here for the first one.
We'll just show a bit of a scramble leading to.
I'll just do a takedown, so I'll just do a takedown. Gary, Paramount's carry takedown. Come on.
Holy goodness, God.
The old belly here. I'll come this Khmer grip. Here, take your own wrist on over the back.
Yeah, he tapped. I saw him tapping there. Yeah.
That's all you're getting.
Oh, good. It's secret. The rest
I'll
of
show
it is
you
secret.
one-on-one if you want to come down for a class.
I'm washing my hair tonight.
The highlight of the whole evening for me, it's always good to talk to Eugene. He knows football inside and out. He brought an expert who played for Armagh in the 1980s, 84, 85, who's also the manager of was the manager of the Armagh Championship winning team last year, Clonairon, Tommy Coleman. And Tommy was just excellent. His insight was brilliant. And he's been on that bench. He's been in that park. He's been out there at the high level games. And he had real insight, honesty and insight. It really was good. And when he's optimistic and really seeing movement and good fortune, and he likes the style of play that Armagh are bringing, and that's what lifts the heart too.
Their confidence is high. They have huge momentum, and momentum is massive in championship runs. And outside of the other injuries now, thankfully they haven't picked up any more injuries. And I think this is where I'll disagree with Eugene. I think Geezer will go with the same starting 15. I think Turbo is a brilliant impact coming on, and I think that's where you leave it, and that's where you'll bring it in. But
can I just ask Tommy Donagh just about Kieran Donagh, the assistant coach, has brought a lot. Maybe Tommy's staying in management, a lot of charisma into it. Do you think he made a difference, Tommy, coming in?
I think he's made a huge impact on the forward play. You know, we were going there for years. Over the last few years, we were watching, and you know, the lateral football that Armagh played, and you know, sometimes it was negative.
Football that the whole country plays, almost, except for Armagh.
It's horrible. It's horrible. It's a game it's a game I don't like. It's a game. I know sometimes you have to recycle it, but you know, for me, you must move it and move it quick. And unfortunately, it's even creeping into the ladies' game there too. But to get back to where we were with Kieran, I think Kieran has put that, he's put his print on that there, and he's stamped that wee bit where the mix is right now, where you do have that bit of the modern game, where times where you have to hold it and you have to be lateral, because if you don't get that ball away and get a quick, teams are that well drilled there and that they're set up defensively, they're in. So it makes it very, very difficult for you to get the score. So you have to be patient with the ball, move the ball, and then when it's on, and we have some superb runners. You know, the like of Campbell, a superb. Eugene ONeill with a pass can do it. Campbell with the strength and the speed can do it. You know, these lads are all over the field. Hit McKeown in the back, they're flying machines, and when that door's on, then they can do it. But I just think Armagh's got a great all-round game. I think their momentum's building, and I think they'll have. I think the forward lines, you know, you had Walsh and Cumber in there for Galway, tremendous footballers. As forward lines, I think there's not a big lot in it between the two teams. Conroy in the middle of the field for Galway is a superb footballer, and that may just give them the edge in and around that sector.
But
I think where Armagh's defence.
Having said that too, I mean, players like Creeley, who didn't feature for the last couple of games in the National League, turns up against Donegal, basically not quite disappeared, but then came of his own in the Tyrone game and again in the Donegal game. These players, with the confidence, are improving.
Oh, so question. That's exactly what we're saying. Creeley, this is a great thing for them, and you know, I think these lads, a lot of them are going to the Croke Park for the first time, and as long as it's a no cliche, but it's true. As long as they don't play the occasion.
A lot of people enjoying that. The numbers were really good to see it and watch it afterwards. So we're serving the mission. We're getting the word out there, and people are enjoying it wherever it is you're in, the sports and all the rest of it. So that's heartening to see that we're on the right course for what we're offering.
Yeah, and also don't forget, any of our listeners who are listening to this on Sunday morning, maybe on the way down to the game, if you go onto our Facebook page, scroll down through the posts.
Yes, you'll see all the bits that we've just done. You'll also see a competition to win a pair of football boots, thanks to our friends at McKeown Sports. All you need to do is predict the score of the game, like and share the post as well. Of course, and of course you have to have that done by 1:30 or so. You want them all stopping. You'll be able to stop the flow of that anyway.
I would turn off the comments, so no cheating.
And there have been lots and lots. I'm not going to predict the score, that's for sure. I was tempted, but then I thought, I don't think they'll let me win the prize. So,
What are you going to do for our football weeks anyway?
I hung them up a long time ago. Well, I did, and I used to play five-a-side football for many years, till my late 40s, and then I had a debilitating circumstance, and then I eventually got back into the ability to play, and then a couple of years ago, back another debilitating circumstance, and I had been to walking football. Have you ever played
walking football? That sounds like my sort of sport. The lazy man's football.
I tell you, well, they have them in a number of places. The Jethro Centres have tried it, and the Clanern have tried it. They still have it, I think, on Tuesdays, as far as I know. But I was just a little bit slow and ambulatory for that, and too much fatigue. So I might go back to it again and get my strength back. You have connections in football. Could you get me a trial with Glenavon, do you think?
I'll come back to you on that.
Okay. The silence is deafening there. Thanks for the offer. With all these transfers going on in the English Premiership, I have to be worth a couple of pounds at least. But anyway, we digress, but we don't digress. Yes, the football's on the mind today, the Armagh football team. But Glenavon, once again, have plenty of news coming up this week. We had the 4G pitch and Sunday opening, albeit one or two. And now we've got more news.
That's right. Glenavon, well, it was revealed this week that Glenavon have submitted plans for a new changing complex, but there's more to that, or more than just changing rooms to this complex. There'll be a new function room, and which will be it's going to be a 3-story building. The top floor will be a function room with seats for spectators as well. The middle section will be the manager's office, and there'll be other office suites in there too. There'll be a fitness suite, and of course a media room for the media team.
Oh, well, very important. Just want to quickly ask, though, you must be one of the few football clubs that have a manager's room that doesn't have a revolving door.
Gary Hamilton's been in post for 10 years. You're absolutely right. And I suppose the large part of that is down to the fact that he's consistently done well for the club. I mean, we haven't won an Irish Cup since 2016 or anything remote, any of the big trophies since that time. But what Gary has done is he has brought stability to the club. He's brought the work he's done with the youth academy as well has been outstanding. Developing players and bringing those through, and he works very closely with the coaches down there in terms of what he wants to see.
He's such a character.
Yeah,
I always was when he was in his playing days. A great footballer and a real character. I mean, I don't know if he shoots from the hip as much as he used to, but he used to have. So he still has. That's what we love.
Yeah.
Some of the managers can shoot from the hip and they don't realize they're pointing the gun at you. Like Klopp can kind of slide a word or two in here that you don't expect, but he's done it in a subtle way sometimes.
Gary Hamilton is a journalist. His journalist's dream, because you ask Gary one question and 5 minutes later he's still answering the question. He will tell you everything you want to know in 5 minutes. He's the most honest man in football that you'll ever meet. He will tell you, if his team's played poorly, he'll tell you they've played poorly. He'll never hang a player out to dry, in fairness to him. He'll never do that in public. And I've known Gary a long time. I know Gary's family well. I'm good mates with his brother. His parents are good people. And whenever he first got into management, part of me wonders, how is this man going to get team talks? How is he going to do all this? But he's done a great job, and I think the vast majority of the Glenavon support love him to bits. And
we'll have to. I know you talk to him as the media man. Can we get him on the podcast some of the days?
Aye, why not? I'm sure. It's pre-season. He's not doing it. In fact, actually, Saturday was Glenavon's first day back at pre-season. There's a wee scoop for you, so I might have to take a look up there as well and see if there's any new faces knocking about.
Well, just on the front, you mentioned about these plans. Now, in my mind, the changing rooms are, as you go into the ground from the Mornview road end, they're on the left, they're on the corner. And then are they separate? They're separate from the main stand?
They
area?
are, but
okay.
there will be a party in these plans. I'm not quite sure whether it's a walkway or what exactly it's going to be, but there's going to be some sort of linkage between the new complex and the Gettystan. But it's important to say as well, these are plans at the minute that have just been submitted, and they'll be considered by the council planners, but they're all very dependent on funding coming from the Department for Communities.
What sort of funding will be required? What's the overall budget?
Well, we don't know what exactly the budget is for this, or how much it could cost. That hasn't been revealed within the submission that's been made to the council so far. I'm sure that will come into it at some stage. But
it's substantial. We're talking in the millions here. It's not 100,000 or something. So
no,
it'll
be a big project.
Big gamble, but that's what lifts clubs and places are going to 4G and all these things.
I think it's important. It's important as well, to point out that the facilities are there to be used by the community. There will be. I mean, obviously there'll be changing rooms, and there'll be, stuff like that there, which will be probably solely for the football club. But there's going to be a community. How do they describe it? A community. I think it's called community rooms. Basically, rooms that the community can use to, whether it be for birthday parties. But I suppose you use the function room for birthday parties too. So I mean, it'll be. I'm sure it'll be a great asset for the Moorview area and the wider Lurgan area too.
So a couple of other stories, not unconnected with Glenavon. New manager for Hill Street has definitely a local Glenavon connection. Tell us about that.
Oh yeah, Stevie McBride, who was at one stage one of the, well, in my mind still is one of the greatest strikers ever to play for Glenavon, formed a great partnership with Ray McCoy and Glenn Ferguson back in the early 90s, which I'm sure many Glenavon supporters will recall with great fondness. Stevie has been appointed manager of Hill Street. His assistant is actually his son, Scott, as well. So a bit of a family affair down Hill Street. So they're really excited now to get Stevie in. Of course, Stevie has a fair bit of managerial experience himself. Managed Glenavon for a period in the late 2000s, I think it was off the top of my head. And of course managed, I think his last club he managed was Tadrick Rovers. So yeah, good luck to Stevie. Stevie's a great lad as well. We had Stevie back in the days, never football's being played behind closed doors due to COVID. We had Stevie in for one of our commentaries, and Stevie he came prepared. He had the notebook out. He had done a proper dossier and all this here. Fantastic prepared man, he was superb, and we wish him all the best in his new role.
There's a lot of competition in local football, isn't there? I mean, Hill Street, yeah, of course. There's Lurgan Celtic, there's Oxford United. There's strong teams in this kind of area.
Oh yeah, even Lurgan Town as well. They've got a great complex down there, the Lurgan Town Arena. It's great to see local clubs doing really well at the minute. So yeah, it's got the new season, of course, not that far away. So we'll keep a close eye to see how all our local teams are getting on.
We're changing sports now with a local swimmer. How local to the centre of my universe in Lurgan Town itself does Daniel Whiffen come from?
Slightly out of it, Mackerlin.
Mackerlin, okay. You could swim that if you were a fellow like Daniel, because he's quite the swimmer, isn't he?
He's an Olympian, of course. Let's not forget that. Daniel took part in the Tokyo Olympics, represented Ireland, and he has been competing this past week at the World Swim Championships in Budapest, and has been setting records. Started off on, I think it was Tuesday, he was in the final of the men's 800 meters. He set the day before, he had set a new Irish record time of 7 minutes 48.32 seconds, which smashed his previous best of 7 minutes 50 seconds 0.74. So he finished 8th in the final, but fair play to him. And then he went and competed in the final of he didn't reach. It was the heats of the 1500 meters, and set an Irish record in that too. So I mean, not a bad weekend. Are you a swimmer yourself? I can't swim. Oh dear. Top secret information here I'm giving away. I can't swim. If I was ever on the Titanic, I'd be screwed. So yeah. No, I did try and learn at one stage, obviously back at school, but I just never, it wasn't for me. So I just try and do my best to stay out of tricky situations when it comes to water.
Well, let's hope that it doesn't rain too much during this summer, but you never know. We'll always help you. We'll give you the first go on the arc.
Thanks very much.
If
Appreciate
things
that.
come out. I'm not a great swimmer myself. I learned to swim when I was about 13 or 14. I had the chance because swimming, Lurgan Pool was one option, but it was closer to go down to the Loch Shore in what they call McKeown Shore, I think, just as you go from Wolf's Island Terrace at Derry McCashin. It's the first shore line that you see of Loch Ness down that way. And the Crillies lived there. We went down and visited. We went out to learn to swim. They all could swim. I could swim like a fish that stuck to the bottom, and that was it. But I could swim since. I could swim all of 3 meters. It's amazing.
I have to interrupt you, Donagh. Sorry, I've been joined by a special guest. Would you like to say hello to everybody? Take that out.
Hello.
Who's this? You want to say hello to everybody?
And what's this lovely boy's name?
This is Ethan. This is my little man. You want to say hello to everybody?
Hello, Ethan.
Hello.
Hello.
We were talking about the tractors. You remember seeing the tractors yesterday?
Ethan, you're a lucky boy. You've got your mum's good looks.
Thanks very much. Yes, we are going to go and get ready very soon to go and see all the cars in Brownlow House, aren't we?
Yeah.
And go to the Soapbox Derby.
We're going
A
to
soapbox derby in Tandragee.
Yeah.
That should be fun. I met someone who was telling me about it last night, and they were saying how would you like to go down a soapbox in Rathfriland Hill, not in the near future. But I had a pleasure of commentating for a couple of years at the soapbox derby in Dromore.
Oh, really?
Wow, it was so much fun. They came down, what's the hill that they came down? Mound Street. Is it Mound Street?
Yeah.
Wow, it was great. I mean, there was a thrill and a spill and everybody trying to get the fastest speed. I forget what the record was, but one fella tippily over. It's a commentator's dream, of course, for that to happen. You don't want anybody to get hurt. Thank goodness he survived afterwards. But it's a wonderful experience. So Tandragee, that's got a bit of a hill to go down, doesn't it?
It certainly does, but we're looking forward to seeing it. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Ethan, it's so nice to have you in this podcast. You brought credibility to it where there's been none before. We're never worked with animals or children, but on this occasion, I think it's a good job that you're here.
You want to say bye-bye to everybody?
Bye.
Bye-bye. Love it. Thank you, those watching at home and those listening. If you want to get in touch, the page is there, of course, on Facebook. We are on Twitter. We're definitely on Instagram. We are available through the email info@yourlurgan.com. That's been another Your Lurgan podcast. I'm Donagh McKeown, and
I'm Michael Scott, and your name is
Ethan.
Ethan.
That's my favorite bit of the podcast ever. Thank you all for joining us.
Bye.